What's good, everybody? DJ TMac back here for another great hip-hop conversation. We're starting the year off with a producer. You know, we interviewed some more producers last year than usual. Plan to do even more this year. And today we're going to speak with my man Burroughs. What's good, homie?
Good, yeah. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Conversations with T-Mac, man.
Glad to be here.
We've been talking about it for a long time, and it's good to finally get you in the studio, man.
Thank you. Yeah, glad to be here.
I seen you, we initially met, I'm sure, at like a Beats Bodega, one of those events, or Mutiny, and it's been fun over the past year, all the events, man. I mean, how has it been for you? I mean, it's been pretty busy for everybody, but you specifically, how's it been?
It's been good. I think this year, I'm going to see tomorrow how many beats I've made this year, but I'm hoping for at least 365.
Ooh, okay.
I think I've done it, but we'll see. But yeah, then also all the shows. I think I met you right after you DJ'd for Rose at the High Dive.
Oh,
which was really cool because that was one of the first times, seeing my music like on a nice little stage like that, and it was a pretty good event.
Yeah, man, that was a lot of fun. Wow, so it's interesting. Yeah, now,
Shout out to Rose.
Shout out to Rose, man.
Rose.
I mean, he's a beast doing his thing. He don't play, so look out, you know what I mean? But, when I was listening to one of your beat tapes earlier, I think I heard that song. I forget which beat he used it for or something, but...
oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he's...
Coming out soon. That's one still.
Okay. Still in the tuck?
Coming out soon, yeah.
Coming out soon. Okay. So you actually released a lot of projects in 2023. I think it was like 4 of them, maybe?
3.
3 of them?
3, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about them, man. I mean, the most recent one is with 80 Spades.
80 Spades.
Ninja
Shout
Chronicles.
Out to 80 Spades.
Talk about that one, man. How did that project come together?
We started working on that one last year. So I met 80 Spades at Mutiny. And we hit it off. He sounded great over my beats like right away. And so, we did one last year, which is called It's Just Me, or Just Me. And that came out as a single, but then we just did a few more. So we're pretty much working on it the whole year. Mm-hmm. But then, it just came out now. I'm pretty happy with it.
It's a real good vibe. The first song I heard off of it, I think it was it was when he performed with Big House.
Yeah, MC Big House. Shout out to MC Big House.
Can you remind me of the name of that song?
Play Your Position.
Play Your Position.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I seen them perform that live. That was the first time I heard it. I was like, this is crazy. So that's definitely like one of my top songs off the project.
Thank you. I'm proud of that one.
Happy to have that one, in my daily rotation now. Shout out to both those MCs. Talk about the beat making process for that and sort of the beats for the entire project.
Okay, yeah, that one came together. I really like that beat. Yeah, I'm proud of that song too. So, but that one came together. That was a sample that I found from a Pam Grier movie, which I thought was pretty cool. She's from Denver. And then, they just sent it back to me with this eight bar thing, switching off every 8. And I loved it. That was such a good idea. Those two, it sounds like something that we would do at Mutiny, just back to back.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely fits that vibe, and it is really awesome how they did that. But talk about the beats for this project. You did mention to me earlier that they are some of your older beats.
Yeah, they're a little bit older, but I'm still happy with them. I usually don't like to listen to my older stuff, but I think that the 80 Spades killed it on the vocals, so it kind of brings the beats to back to life for me. And then I used, some more like me playing instruments on the tracks, which I thought was cool. There's one track, Don't Hold Me Back, where I kind of just improvised off of the chord changes for a little bit at the end. And I really like doing that. I want to do more production using instruments like that.
But the Ninja Chronicles, it's interesting. It has that ninja element to it, and the beats sort of remind me the RZA-esque. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Some of the samples and how you did some of that. Talk about some of your musical influences.
Okay. I think like the first thing that really got me into music was Jimmy Hendrix. You know, I started off as a guitar player because my neighbor was a teacher and an amazing jazz guitarist. So I started off, and then I think that was the first thing that like really captured me. I heard him play, and I'm like, just has such a unique style, you know. So I started playing guitar, then got into jazz, and then got into hip hop, and then like felt like once I got into hip hop, then I was into like everything, like Latin music, and you know Russian music and all kinds of, because you have to, you know, look at all these different places, especially soul. Like I really started liking soul music. But yeah, I think that's always like my favorite artist that inspired me, like Jimi Hendrix, Thelonious Monk, J Dilla, of course. Madlib.
Definitely hear the Dilla influence on some of those tracks.
Yeah, I felt like The Alchemist said something once. He said like he had to try to not make fake DJ Premier beats. And I feel like the same thing with Dilla. Like I had to figure out how to not make fake Dilla beats.
You definitely have your own style and are doing your own thing. You know what I mean?
I think that's the goal. Yeah, that's like all my favorite artists were like, they had their own sound. You know, speaking their own language.
So talk about how you make music, because you know you are not just somebody who's flipping samples. You're playing your own. You're playing the keys. You're playing the guitar, right? So talk about your musical evolution, I guess. I mean, you said you started playing guitar,
right?
But how did it build? Sort of break it down for me.
Okay, yeah. So I started playing guitar. I was like probably like 10 when I really started like taking lessons and playing. You know. Before that, it was just kind of messing around, and then started really playing. And then I taught myself piano, and I took like a few lessons in high school on the piano, and then just kind of taught myself. I was really into like classical and jazz at the time, so I was learning like Bach, and I really liked Chopin. Yeah, and then more in college, I got into like Thelonious Monk, was like my favorite pianist for a long time. Played lots of piano, but for a while I just wanted to be like a jazz musician. You know, that's what I thought of myself as, like straight jazz.
Interesting.
But then I got into like hip hop during the pandemic, and then found out about J Dilla, Madlib, you know, and they've been like probably the biggest influences on my hip hop production.
Interesting. So it's really recent that you've come around to hip hop.
Yeah, I've been making beats like 2 years, so I'm really trying to get my stuff out there now, you know.
I mean, maybe it's just because of your musical background, but it doesn't sound like somebody who like just discovered hip hop a couple of years ago who started making beats. You know what I mean? You have a very elevated sound. The way you flip things, and then incorporate your own live playing over it. It's really dope, and really dope to have you as part of this like hip hop producer community.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
it's really dope. Have you read the J Dilla book?
Yeah, like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, man,
loved that one. Yeah.
Really interesting.
Yeah, a lot of like technical, you know, information there too. But yeah, that's what I mean. Like I read that, I started reading that like right after I started producing, and it just like felt like I sounded like I was trying to sound like J Dilla, and I had to move away from that.
Okay, man. So I mean, speaking of like moving away from that, you recently released a salsa project, as you would describe it, called Juice.
Juice.
Talk about the idea behind that and sort of how that came together.
Well, I got into salsa. I first heard Ibrahim Ferrer, a Cuban artist and a singer. I thought he was amazing. Like I loved just the whole vibe. And then once I started digging for samples, I got more into like Colombian salsa and that kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know how this one really happened. Like I made the first track, and then I really liked the vibe of it. you know, I kind of used these salsa drum loops that I found, and then just played instruments over them.
You built over it, okay.
Yeah. And everything was like one take, you know, on the guitar, because I would make like a backing track and then do like a lead track and just do like 1 or 2 takes, you know, because I really wanted it to be like, you know, one of my favorites also is John Coltrane. You know, like you hear people who have that real, you know, improvised. Yeah, I just like the improvised feel. Like if you do it too many times, it's like it ruins it. So that's what I like. I made it in a week.
Interesting.
And just kept it going. I want to do a lot more of that too, you know.
A lot more what? Like making projects in a short amount of time?
Yeah.
Specific styles or like genre projects? Like explain that a little more.
Both, yeah. Like I want to do quick projects like that. Like I like when it's, if you think too much, like if I think too much about it, I'll never release it. You know, because I'll
Heard that.
Yeah, so I think I just got to make it quickly and just put it out there. But then also, yeah, like more, I think my first like album as Burroughs, which was an instrumental project called I'll Be Here Again Tomorrow Night. I felt like it was kind of all over the place, but I liked that, you know. But I want to make more, you know, albums that have like one theme,
like defined projects.
Yeah, those are some of my favorite albums, you know, the concept albums. So
you brought up And I'll Be Here Again Tomorrow Night. I was reading the titles of it, and are they all supposed to flow together as like a sentence almost?
Maybe.
All right, you guys should check that out because it's interesting as you listen and go through it. You know, I'm an album person. Like, I don't just pick out single songs. Like, you got to listen to it in full, how the artist or producer intended it to be.
Definitely.
So definitely check that out. Definitely like a conceptual album. On And We'll Be Here Again, you did have one salsa type track.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I did.
Is that sort of where maybe the idea came from for Juice?
Probably, yeah.
And sort of influenced it?
That was the first like salsa track that I ever made.
Interesting.
Because I never really did that thing. I just found these loops that I had. It was like, you know, like a one little percussion, and I'd put it together on some program that was like called Cuba or whatever. You know, just like really generic. But I kind of liked the drums, and that was my first time doing salsa stuff, and it was kind of fun. I definitely want to do more of that. Like I want to do a straightforward jazz album, or not like straightforward, but just like a real jazz album. And then just all kinds of different styles.
Yeah, man, just show all those different sides. I mean, music is universal, and hip hop, like you sort of mentioned, comes from all these different things. So it's cool to hear you and hear you want to experiment more, like in these different things. I mean, you're going to bring something new and fresh to everybody. And something I mentioned is like, did you ever think of making sample packs?
Oh yeah, I haven't thought of it, but maybe I might. I think it's a weird idea to me to make something and then have someone else like manipulate it that much, you know, because I feel like the way that I make my music is like really particular, or I'm really particular about it. But I think it might be cool to see like how somebody else flips it, you know, because you're not.
Yeah.
It's like you're too close to it that you can't really see the larger picture.
You're very attached to it.
Yeah, right.
Interesting.
It'd be cool to see how that comes together.
Interesting. Yeah. So going back to Juice a little bit, something you saying that you sort of improvise and try to do everything really quick. You can really hear that in like some of those guitar solos and like how you're going off. You talked about the Jimmy Hendrix influence.
Oh yeah.
It's the picture's coming together a little bit. Now I'm getting a little bit more of the background. But I love the sounds. I love the styles. Do you know what your next project will be? Will it sort of be this jazz project? Are you working with any artists that, will be coming out with a fully produced Burroughs project? Like, what's sort of coming next, if you can give us any hints or ideas?
I definitely have some projects with rappers that I'm working on. Who knows when those will be ready though? They'll be ready whenever they're ready. And then I want to release some beat tapes because I've been making so many beats lately. I kind of stopped posting as much on social media and just more focused on making music. So I'm making, this month, I think I've made 40 beats.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm just trying to, I'll probably so I would like to do some kind of instrumental, like hip hop project. Probably is going to be next.
Okay. All right. So we'll definitely be on the lookout for that. Speaking of, making music, I want to know what your favorite piece of equipment is. Maybe give me your favorite live instrument that you like to play, and then maybe sample or like machine or like, something analog and digital maybe. Let's say it like that.
I think my favorite piece of equipment is the MPC. I love that thing. I just like the way it looks, like just seeing it, like when I press the button and it flashes and turns on, I'm like, oh yeah.
Just the instant feeling of gratification.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's like when you flick your phone on or whatever. It's just the same. But I don't really have a favorite. Well, the instruments I can actually play, I feel like, are guitar and piano.
Okay.
But I could kind of put something together on a number of other instruments, and I would just have to practice if I was gonna really play them. So it's hard to say. I really like to play the classical guitar, like not necessarily classical music, but just that type of guitar with the nylon strings. I really like that sound.
Man, I want to see you play some live stuff.
Yeah, I would also. That's also an album that I've been thinking about and kind of have recorded a little bit of, is like guitar duets, classical guitar duets, but kind of like not classical music. Okay.
Well, don't let anybody try to sample it, man. It sounds very sampleable stuff. You better you gotta lock it down, homie.
No, they could sample it, yeah.
Nah, man.
I would like to hear people sample my work.
Yeah.
I definitely would like to hear that.
You better come correct with the bag, though. You know what I'm saying? Come correct. Your style better be right. So we talk about you playing live instruments, doing some production. Do you mix your music as well? How far do you actually take the process?
Yeah, I usually mix it. I feel like that's one of my weakest skills, though. Like, to be honest, that's I've only been mixing for about 2 years, also. So I think I've got to I trust my ear. I think my ear is probably my best asset. I think any musician, that's probably your best asset. But I feel like I've got a long way to go with my mixing, but I'll get there. I'm getting better. Just got to keep experimenting with it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. You also talked about maybe putting together like a live band.
Yeah, I've been really wanting to do that.
Really cool.
Yeah. I've always liked the Roots. I saw Action Bronson recently with his live band. I really liked that too. Was that
at Mission Ballroom?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there at that show too.
Oh, really?
Yep.
And see, it was packed.
It was packed.
Yeah, I didn't see. But yeah, I want to do that kind of thing where it's kind of it could be hip hop and jazz and all different kinds of styles all together. So I definitely want to get that together. That's coming soon.
Let's talk about some of our favorite hip hop bands. You mentioned the Roots, Fugees. Those are one of the people that that really got me more into hip hop and sampling and full albums. We talked about you coming around to hip hop more recently. I did not grow up listening to hip hop at all. I more just caught the influence from the things in the general media, through commercials and video games, just hearing that stuff. But probably when I was around 20 or something, I think I sort of mentioned to you that I went to a lot of the Logic shows early on.
Yeah.
After listening to some of his interviews and him mentioning his influences, that's what made me go back to Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul. Then listening to them made me go back to the original samples of music. So I came around to hip hop later myself, and Fugees, is a big reason for that. Just all those classic 90s albums, really.
Definitely.
But other hip hop bands, who else could we think of right now? There's this live. There's this band. I don't want to call them like a studio band, but they play for a lot of people. I think they're called 1000. Shit, I'm gonna totally mess up the name.
L. Michaels with Freddie Gibbs.
Okay,
that was a pretty good one. I like that band. But yeah, I think that there needs to be, or I would like to do something like that. Like we should do more of that, the band kind of thing. I've already seen a lot of people are doing it. It's pretty, but
it just brings like a whole different element to it recorded, but when you see it live, like having a live drummer or like even just a drummer and a bass with the MC and a DJ like is fire, or something on the keys, just some like basic core elements that you need that like totally elevate a show.
Definitely, yeah. And sometimes when I play at like the beat ciphers and have people rap over my beats, I feel like I want to like change certain things while they're going, but I can't, because the track's already made. So I think, with a band, it's like I'll be able to kind of respond more while I'm on the keys to what they're doing. And I think that would be really cool. I would definitely want to try it.
Being the James Brown leader of the band, director of the band.
Oh, yeah, James, that's another, I love James Brown, one of my favorites. I think that's part of what like started me getting into hip-hop was James Brown, because I loved his music right away.
Is there any like live performances from like concerts or something that you go back and watch on YouTube?
James Booker. There's this video of James Booker playing the piano. Have you ever heard of him?
I don't think I have.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know. People need to know about James Booker. But he was an amazing piano player, and I just watched this video of him playing. He makes it look so easy. Thelonious Monk live in Denmark. I forget when that was, but yeah, like I said, he was one of my favorite composers.
Yeah, send me the links for that. I need to check that out. There's a Stevie Wonder live performance. I forget the name of the song or where it was, but it was amazing. I'm going to put a clip of it in here. It's just too good to pass up.
Oh, yeah. And Stevie Wonder doing For Once in My Life live. I forget when that was, but there's a video on YouTube. I love that one too.
It's cool that there's a lot of live performance like channels on YouTube now, so we're getting to see people like perform live. Tiny Desk is a really popular one. That one's fun. Colors. It's cool to see people in the live element more than just through this digital, Spotify, just listening to it, through an easy way. You don't have to go out and see them. It's cool to see them, the more live performances. We need more of it.
Definitely, yeah.
Denver has a really strong live performance scene too. I mean, we talked about Beats Bodega, Mutiny, the Mutiny Cypher. It's cool to have these weekly events. I never lived somewhere where there was this much hip hop events and venues that were just open to having, independent performers.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love all those events. I think that it was really cool how everyone, embraced me, and it's been great having those events. Met a lot of artists. And a lot of good people too,
We don't want to start naming names, but can you give me just some of your favorite producers
in the city?
Yeah.
Face to Feet, Old Soul Era, Rose, who are all, two of my great rappers too, beat makers.
Yeah.
Let's see who else. Everybody really like. I don't want to leave anybody out.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to start naming people, but just I wanted to get the top those ones that first came to mind.
Deals makes beats.
Deals, crazy guy.
He's got some crazy beats.
Crazy guy makes crazy beats.
I like them. Yeah. But yeah, everybody. I'm sure I'm forgetting someone that like I really need to be saying right now.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. But everyone's making really good beats. There's some.
Yeah, it's inspiring. I think the culture is really it's really awesome out here. It's like friendly rivalry, and it's everybody like pushes each other and just inspires each other out here.
Right. Gloomy Sunday.
Shout out.
Yeah.
So many people, man. Let's talk. Okay, so we talked about, a big part of conversation with T-Mac is music. Another big part is food.
Okay, yeah.
And we talked about you being a prep cook.
Yes.
Right? So do you see any similarities between cooking and making music?
Yeah, a lot of similarities.
Let's talk about it, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, a good dish is like a good track, you know? It's like, I appreciate info, because I don't think I'm that great of a cook, you know? But I like the chefs that have kind of came through this restaurant that I've been at. I think have been very good, and it's cool seeing like when you put together the flavors just right, and then you eat it. You know, I can't really describe it like a chef. Like I said, I'm not a great chef really, but I can acknowledge this. Like that's how I want my music to feel. Like when you hear it, it's just like everything is in the right spot and it complements each other. You know, it's just about the whole presentation and everything. I also admire how chefs, it's like they're always trying to like tighten up every little aspect of their kitchen and their, you know, how they do things, and they're like, oh, we need to start being like this, and we need to, you know, cut the tape and all that kind of thing, you know, just to have everything as organized, and they're like always trying to get better. So I got to try to do that same thing, you know, when I'm making music.
Similar, excuse me. Similarity I think of is like, you know, something could be very simple, something could be very intricate. Also,
Yeah,
something could be done very quick and improvised, right? Or something could be prepped and take a lot of time to get to the final product, right?
exactly. Yeah, like just because a dish is extremely technical and there's a lot going on, it doesn't make it good. You know, it's the same thing with music. That's something I feel like I've been getting better at. Is like, I feel like I used to just do like every beat was like, I'm gonna add drums and I'm gonna add bass and I'm gonna chop up the sample real tiny and rearrange it. And now I feel like I'm getting better at just knowing, you know, what's necessary and doing that's what I really like admire with my favorite producers. You know, they do what's necessary, and then you can't really tell, you know, what they added. You know, did they add that snare? Did they add the bass line, or is it? You know, it's like I like when it's not easy to figure that out.
Awesome. Yeah, that's something I mentioned to you earlier. Like I can't really, I can tell sometimes, but you know, it blends so well. You know, that's.
Thank you.
You're doing it well.
And thank you. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about food a little bit more, man. Did you grow up in Denver or in Colorado?
Yes.
All right, man. So you're a good person to ask. What are some of your go-to food spots around the city or in Colorado in general?
Sputnik in Denver. That's the spot.
What kind of food do they serve?
Right there. It's like, you know, there's a little bit of everything. It's, you know, bar food.
Okay.
Vegan friendly.
Okay.
It's the best.
Nice.
My favorite. That's my favorite spot.
Any other spots that you could give us?
Levin Deli,
Okay.
Denver.
Yep.
Very good. Yeah, but like I said, like I feel like I'm pretty, like my palate, is not as good as my ear. Not nearly as good as like, but I can tell like when I see someone who has a good palate, I'm like, oh, you can taste all those little details that I can hear, you know?
Damn, interesting. Some bars right there.
Yeah.
Look out. You got some bars too. All right, man. If I was to make a pizza for you, your ultimate pizza, what would be on that thing, man?
It's got to have red onions. Maybe some cauliflower. I'm pretty into cauliflower.
Okay.
I'm a vegetarian,
Okay.
so I wouldn't. Yeah, maybe something like that. Like I said, simple garlic. You know, I love garlic. Maybe some garlic on there.
Yeah.
But
There's like a New York style pizza.
probably, yeah.
Classic.
Probably.
Classic. Okay.
Or I like Neapolitan pizza too. But yeah, I like simple, you know, simple and delicious. That's what I like.
I mean, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with the classics. Can't go wrong with simple, right?
Right. Like I said.
You know, sometimes you don't need too much flavor. Don't need too much spice.
There's too much going on. It just gets confusing.
It gets confusing.
Yeah, I have a simple palate.
Okay. All right. I like that, man. We're gonna have to try that out. Have you ever had cauliflower crust?
Yes.
Because I might have tried it like one or two times, but is there any place around here that serves like a cauliflower, like alternative style pizza like that you enjoy?
I don't know about any places, but I used to have a microwave cauliflower pizza that I really liked. You know, for microwave pizza. I mean, it's not, you know, not the real thing, but I've tried it before, and I've tried it at this place, Pizzeria Locale in Boulder.
Okay.
Which is not, I guess they're not the chain. There's also a chain, but they're not that. All right. So, you know, it was a little confusing, but
make sure you go to the right one.
Yeah, they had a good cauliflower crust. Do you do that?
We don't have a cauliflower crust, but we do like a gluten-free.
Yeah.
So that's something that's pretty popular at Blue Pan Pizza. Shout out Blue Pan Pizza. The Golden location is now open. Come see your boy. But yeah, man, Burroughs, I'd love to have you over, you know, Blue Pan Pizza. Maybe we'll try to get that. We don't have cauliflower, so, you know, I'll have to prep my own cauliflower for that. Yeah, but it does sound like, you know, a nice, simple, but awesome pizza.
Yeah, I like the vegetable pizzas, you know.
Hey, veggies popular, man. We do got a lot of different veggies. We also got like some sweet kind of peppers, some hot kind of peppers, some like chili oil, all different kind of stuff. But it's interesting to see pizza, like, you know, taking on all different like varieties nowadays.
Yeah, I think so.
Serving everybody. It's really cool to see. I went to Pizza Expo one year, and it's like just in this huge convention center, and you would imagine all the pizza stuff that you see in there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They're doing tricks with the dough and
There's
all that.
a pizza tossing competition.
Yeah.
There's all that. It's crazy.
That's cool.
The owner of Blue Pan Pizza actually has won like best pizza before, and is part of this like international pizza team. So doing some big things, and hey, they got some Blue Pan Pizza doing their thing, y'all. You know, I ain't lying. So come on through, have some good pizza. Come on through to Beats Bodega, hear some good beats. Come on through to Mutiny, good beats, good MCs, good stuff. I mean, we talked about you releasing music in 2024. Anything else you want to leave the people with before we get out of here?
Just keep listening. Yeah, thank you to everyone who's listened so far. You know, I'm going to release more music and just keep working. It's like, you know, that's what I like to do. So, more records coming soon. And, yeah.
Dope, man.
More work this year.
Hell yeah. More work, more beats, more music.
Right.
More fun, y'all. All right, we'll see you at a Beats Bodega real soon. We out. Peace.
From out the inner depths with an introspect that's become the biggest threat, but in effect at all times fall in line to hit eject. This event the general type, but not the general type, but sentinel with these centennial heights. A mile up, be the defender you fight. This could be the end of your play. You'll soon resent when we enter your sights. We based on a true story, no deriving. We overdriving the notarizing.